right, so VS Code is a very flexible IDE, and you can program in a variety of different languages in VS Code. For instance, the two you might be interested in are Java and C++. And so the steps to configure VS Code to run with Java, all you have to do is install the Java extension, then you create a file with the .java file name extension, and then you're going to run the program, which is on the top menu under the Run tab with the Run Without Debug, which is Control F5. So let's see what that might look like. So to install the Java extension, I go over to the extension aisle in the icon in the navigator, and this time I'm going to search for Java, and it's going to bring up a variety of different Java extensions for me. There are two of them. One is the extension pack for Java, and another one is the Java platform. So this is the Java icon. This is Oracle Corporation. It has 1.5 million installs. And so I am going to install this one. As a matter of fact, if you'll notice the little install button here, I don't even have to open it up. I could install it from here. So once you have installed it, the next thing is going to be create a file with a Java file name extension, and then we'll run it. So I'll close that window down. I'll come back to my CS Python folder, and I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call this one Hello Java, and I'm going to make sure that it has a .java file name extension, and it'll open up that file in the editor. Now Java is also a case-sensitive language, and so the file will always start with a public class. I'm going to name the class the exact same thing as my file, which is Hello Java with no file name extension. I need an opening curly brace, and VS Code is nice enough to give me the closing curly brace. I'm going to put a comment on that closing curly brace so I know who it belongs to. Looks like I'm spelling Hello Java wrong. There we go. All right, so inside of here, I'm going to tab in, and then we're going to say public static, and it's nice enough to help me along, predictive. We're going to do a public static void main, and it is going to put inside the parentheses a capital string with the args, and it actually gave me the opening and the closing curly brace. I'm going to put a comment on this one indicating that it's end main, and then I'm going to push those two closing curly braces down, because what I want to put inside of here, public static void main, is we are going to print out a statement. So the two forward slashes create a comment. Anything that follows the two forward slashes is a comment. Now to print a statement in Java, I'm going to say system.out.print, and we'll do a dot print line, and then the parentheses. Anything that I put inside the parentheses is what will be printed. So I'm going to put several double quotes, just like we did in Python. I'm going to say hello Java. I'll put an exclamation point because that's very, very exciting. And then any executable line of code in Java requires a semicolon, and that most definitely is an executable line of code. So once I'm ready, I'm going to come up to the Run button, the Run icon at the top, and I'm going to click Run Without Debugging. And it is going to open up my output window here, and in the debug console, I can see Hello Java. So if you want to configure VS Code to work with C++, it's a little bit more involved. It has the same steps, but it's a little bit more involved. First, you're going to install the C++ extension, and then you're going to install a C++ compiler. This is just like the Python interpreter that we had to install first, but it's a little bit more involved. There, I will include this link for you, and you're going to go to this page that was created from Visual Studio Code explaining how to implement C++ into configure your Visual Studio for C++. So as it mentioned, it says install the extension, and then you need to check to see if you have a compiler. There is a good chance that you do not have a compiler if you've never coded anything in C++ before. And then the next thing to do is to install the compiler. Just like we installed the Python interpreter, there are compilers for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. I have a Windows machine, so I installed the MinGW tutorial. I installed the MinGW compiler, and there is a long list of instructions on how to do that. Once you have it installed and you have checked your configuration, The next thing that we're going to do is create a file that has a .cpp file name extension. And then when you press the Run button that's at the top right-hand corner of the window in the same place as it was for a Python, it's going to ask you for the first time to select a debug configuration. And I chose the one that included the g++.exe because that is the one that I installed. And then once you install it, it will run it, and it takes it a little bit of time the first time through to code for that debug configuration, and then it will display your outcome. Once you have it installed, we're going to go back to our folder. We're going to create one last file, one new file. I'm going to call this one Hello C++. It needs to have a .cpp file name extension, and it's going to open it up for me. And then C++ is also case sensitive. So I'm going to say pound include, and then IOStream. It's predictive. It is most definitely trying to help me. I'm going to be saying using namespace. I'm using namespace standard. This is an executable line of code, so it does need a semicolon after it. And then it also has a main method as well, with an opening and a closing curly brace. So I'm going to put a comment in main on that one. And inside of here, we are going to print a statement, just like we did in Java. We're going to print a statement. So then I'm going to put it cout with 2 less than symbols. That stands for console out. And then parentheses, I'm going to say hello C++ with an exclamation point, because that is very exciting. This is also an executable line of code. So I'm going to type a semicolon, and then we'll also return a 0 with a semicolon. So let's see if we can run the program. I'm going to come up to the same place that it was in my Python file. I can see the run up here, but I'm going to come up to the same place as my Python file, and it's going to ask me which one of these debuggers I want to use. So I'm going to use the G++, and then we will run it. It's going to take just a minute, but when it's successfully completed, there it is, Hello C++. And if you'll notice, when you installed it, this is where I put it, MSY S64. So that's actually where I put it, and there is the run of the program in the terminal. And as I said before, Visual Studio Code is a very robust IDE, and you can use it to code in a variety of different languages. Just look for the extension for the language that you might want to support.